The Bible is one of the most widely read and studied books in the world, yet many beliefs about it have been shaped by tradition rather than scripture. Over the centuries, cultural influences, artistic depictions, and assumptions have contributed to certain misconceptions that many people accept as biblical truth. However, when we closely examine the actual text, we find that some of these widely held beliefs are not written in the sacred scriptures. One of the most common misconceptions is the belief that Jesus was born on December 25th. While this date is celebrated worldwide as Christmas, the Bible never states that Jesus was born on that day. In fact, the Gospel of Luke provides a clue that challenges this idea. It describes shepherds in the fields watching over their flocks at night when an angel appeared to announce Jesus' birth. This detail suggests a warmer season, as shepherds typically did not keep their sheep out at night during the cold winter months. The selection of December 25th as Jesus' birthday was made by early church leaders, possibly to align with existing pagan festivals that occurred around the winter solstice. Over time, this date became widely accepted, and the tradition of celebrating Christmas on December 25th was firmly established. However, the exact birth date of Jesus remains unknown, and the scriptures provide no specific date for the event. Understanding this helps us separate biblical facts from human traditions. While celebrating Jesus' birth is significant for Christians, the focus should be on the meaning of his coming rather than the specific date. This example highlights how beliefs about the Bible can sometimes be influenced by historical decisions rather than the actual words of Scripture. Another widely accepted idea is the belief that there were 3 wise men who visited Jesus after his birth. Almost every nativity scene and Christmas play depicts 3 magi, each carrying a gift. However, the Bible never specifies the number of wise men who came to see Jesus. The Gospel of Matthew describes them as wise men from the east who followed a star to find the newborn king of the Jews. It does mention that they brought 3 gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but it does not say how many men delivered them. The assumption of 3 wise men likely arose from the mention of 3 gifts, but the Bible leaves the number unknown. There could have been 2, 5, or even a larger group of wise men traveling together. Another misconception is that they visited Jesus on the night of his birth. Many nativity scenes show the wise men at the manger alongside the shepherds, but the Bible indicates that they arrived later. By the time they reached Jesus, he was living in a house, not a stable, and he is described as a young child, not a newborn. This suggests that their visit occurred months, or possibly even years, after his birth. Despite these details, the traditional image of 3 wise men at the manger has been passed down for generations. This serves as another example of how assumptions and artistic interpretations have shaped our understanding of biblical events. The story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is one of the most well-known accounts in the Bible. However, one common misconception is that Eve ate an apple from the forbidden tree. The Bible does not say she ate an apple. It simply refers to it as the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The idea of an apple likely comes from better artistic depictions and linguistic misunderstandings. In some old Latin translations, the word for evil, malum, is similar to the word for apple, malus, leading to the assumption that the forbidden fruit was an apple. Over time, this imagery became popular in paintings, literature, and even children's stories. The important lesson in the story is not the type of fruit, but the act of disobedience. Adam and Eve were given one command: to avoid eating from the forbidden tree. Their choice to disobey led to consequences that affected all of humanity. Focusing on the fruit itself can sometimes distract from the deeper meaning of the story. Understanding this helps us recognize how cultural influences have shaped our interpretation of biblical events. The scriptures leave many details open, and assumptions can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. Another common misconception is the belief that Lucifer is a name for Satan. Many people assume that the Bible calls the devil by this name, but a closer look at the scriptures reveals a different meaning. The name Lucifer appears in Isaiah 14:12 in some older translations. The passage says, "How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning." However, when we read the full context, we see that this passage is actually describing a Babylonian king, not Satan. The name Lucifer comes from a Latin translation and means morning star or light bringer. It was not originally used to refer to the devil. Over time, due to later interpretations and teachings, many people connected this passage with Satan's fall. This idea became even more popular in medieval times and was reinforced by literature, including John Milton's famous poem Paradise Lost. As a result, Lucifer became widely accepted as another name for Satan, even though the Bible never uses it in that way. This example shows how translations, traditions, and interpretations can influence our understanding of Scripture. To gain a clearer picture of biblical teachings, it is important to study the context of each passage carefully. A popular phrase, often mistaken for a Bible verse, is, "God helps those who help themselves." Many people believe this saying comes from Scripture, but it does not appear anywhere in the Bible. The phrase is commonly used to encourage self-reliance, but biblical teachings emphasize a different message. The Bible frequently speaks about God's grace, mercy, and help for those in need. Many verses encourage people to trust in God, call upon Him in times of trouble, and rely on His strength rather than their own efforts. One possible reason this phrase became popular is that it aligns with human philosophy. In many cultures, self-sufficiency is valued, and people are encouraged to take control of their own lives. However, the biblical message is that God provides for those who seek Him, and that His strength is made perfect in human weakness. This is a clear example of how widely accepted beliefs can sometimes contradict biblical teachings. While hard work and responsibility are important, the idea that God only helps those who help themselves is not a biblical principle. Instead, Scripture teaches that God helps those who turn to Him in faith. Many beliefs that people hold about the Bible have been shaped by tradition, cultural influences, and artistic representations rather than Scripture itself. While traditions can be meaningful, it is important to distinguish between what is written in the Bible and what has been added over time. Understanding these misconceptions helps believers develop a more accurate and thoughtful approach to studying Scripture. Rather than relying on assumptions, we should seek to read and interpret the Bible carefully, considering the context and meaning of each passage. Many other commonly accepted ideas may not be as biblical as people think. Further study of Scripture can reveal even more truths that have been misunderstood over time. By seeking knowledge and truth, we can deepen our faith and grow in wisdom. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you see the Bible in a new light. What other common beliefs do you think might not be in Scripture? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening insights. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. Until next time, keep seeking the truth and stay blessed.